So you invested a bunch of money in a new Dolby Atmos home theater system, and now you need something to watch and listen to. So here are my picks for 10 movies that will guarantee to give you the best Atmos experience and will be demo discs to show off in your home theater to your friends, family, and just to enjoy yourself. Now, before we get started, I will say, although all of these movies would be available on digital services or on streaming, and a lot of them will have Atmos tracks on those services, for the best Atmos experience, you're going to want to buy the 4K UHD physical media disc. The streaming versions, digital versions of Dolby Atmos are slightly compressed and a little bit different on physical media, and on 4K UHD or Blu-ray discs, you're getting that full Atmos experience. So to get the most out of your system, you'd want to invest in the physical media for all of these, although they will be available on other formats. So to kick things off, I got a recent one for you, and it's Twister, which just came out on 4K UHD. Now, Twister is non-stop action, literally from start to finish. There's about 5 minutes of introduction, getting to know the characters, and then we're right into it. Tornadoes are coming by left and right. We're into the action full speed. And Twister has a great, newly remastered Atmos track. And as you can imagine, with everything flying around the screen and everything flying around the soundscape, you're gonna get a really, really great Atmos experience. It's going to be very nuanced. It's going to be very loud. The bass is going to be heavy, but it's going to hit you from all directions, which is a big benefit of Atmos, is that object-based surround sound where they can really place sound almost anywhere within a 3D space. And Twister has a lot of that going on. There's also some really fun music in it as well, which give you great Atmos experiences, but really it all comes down to when you get those tornadoes rolling in, you get the big F5 at the end of the movie. It's an incredible Atmos experience that will definitely have you excited that you invested the money in your new system. Now, number 2 on the list is Blackhawk Down, and that's been a demo disc for home theater audio literally since the days of DVD when it was first released, then on Blu-ray, and now on the 4K UHD format. And it's an extremely, extremely loud movie. One of the loudest movies, just decibel-wise, that you could probably play in your home theater. But I think the Atmos track balances that a bit better so that it's not quite as in-your-face, overwhelmingly loud. It's more immersive. Now, the audio is still extremely loud. I think it's still the loudest movie on this selection of this list. But I do think Atmos is a little more nuanced, and you're going to get less like in your face just pumping out, from those front speakers, and you're going to get more of that side action. You're going to hear the bullets coming from the left and the right. You're going to hear the helicopters overhead. You're going to hear all those little things that may have been kind of front heavy in past mixes, and now really get to spread their wings across this whole home theater space with Atmos. For number 3 on the list, I'm picking Ready Player One, because that is another just amazing reference quality disc. And the visuals are awesome, and the Atmos just kicks ass the whole way through. It's very deep on the bass. There's a ton of action. There's obviously a ton happening. Again, from the very opening scene, you've got, the multi-level buildings that are built up into the sky. Of course, like the Mario Kart race section of that film. One of my favorite moments of any movie in Atmos ever, with all the different characters. That race scene is insane. Even when they get down into the Shining house and they do some really cool stuff that's a little more nuanced and a little less in your face, it's still great audio. It's very subtle, but you pick up on all the different little pieces of this virtual world, this experience that you're brought into through Ready Player One. So for number 4, I'm going to go with any of the Quiet Place movies. A Quiet Place, you'd think, oh well, it's quiet, right? Atmos isn't always just about the biggest sound. It's not always Blackhawk Down and Twisters and Ready Player One, but Atmos does a great job at really building an experience and immersing you in a world. And with A Quiet Place, given how quiet everything is, every little crunch of a leaf and every whisper, and you've got aliens and monsters hovering above and crawling over things as the characters are trying to stay quiet and hidden. All of that is beautifully done in Atmos. It's just without Atmos, I don't think that movie has the same effect. And I've seen them in theaters, and that's a great experience. Like, that's the way to see Quiet Place movies, because of the excellent audio that a full-scale movie theater can give you. But when you take it home, if you don't have Atmos, like if you're listening to A Quiet Place and it's on a sound bar or something, or using your TV speakers, you're doing that movie completely, disservice. You're not giving it what it needs. And Atmos really builds that immersive experience that makes you feel like you're there and you hear every little sound across your home theater. And that's what gives you that movie theater level experience at home. Next up on my list is 13 Hours, the Benghazi movie. Much like Blackhawk Down, this is just bullets flying everywhere, but 13 Hours is so beyond great, especially when the action kicks up. There's about 40 minutes of just an insane shootout. And you're in this embassy, basically surrounded by open space. There's a lot of sound happening. There's explosions, there's gunshots, there's yelling, there's the crowd down below the embassy, there's the city and town, the sounds of the people and cars, and there's so much happening in that 40 minutes that while the first half of the movie is on the slower side for sure, once it kicks up, that is just, it's reference quality stuff, and it gets deep bass hits. Like your subwoofers get a serious workout with 13 Hours in a way that I think only one other, I'm looking at my list, I think one other movie on this list might go deeper and heavier on the bass and the low level stuff than 13 Hours, but those explosions in 13 Hours are going to rock your home theater space. Next up, I've got Edge of Tomorrow, or Live, Die, Repeat, whatever you want to call it. This movie is so underrated still. It's just underseen. More people need to watch it. And this is one of the sci-fi movies I put in the list. You could have easily put The Matrix on here, which is always reference quality. And a lot of other sci-fi movies, things in that genre, the Godzilla and Kong movies, like a lot of stuff really hits hard. But when you get to Edge of Tomorrow, that opening sequence, and I don't want to necessarily, I guess it's not a spoiler for the movie, it's Live, Die, Repeat. That sequence that Tom Cruise keeps going back to, that battle sequence that we get over and over and over again, is comparable to something like Saving Private Ryan and like the D-Day scene, but it's more modern technology. The audio is even stronger. That's a serious highlight for the Atmos format, and that alone would probably make it worth every dollar you spend on it. It's a great movie too, but I know my friends over at SVS Sound, who I rely on for my home theater, subwoofers, speakers, you name it. They use that scene as a demo when they're at trade shows and conventions and things. So it's one of the best Atmos demo discs that you can own, and it's a must own if you've upgraded your system. Next up, I've got the Dune movies. Doesn't matter which one. They're all great. The modern ones, the Denis Villeneuve ones, but both of them so far have these just deep, booming sequences. The sandworm from the first one is a definite highlight when that gets revealed for the first time. And there's great fight scenes in each of the films, and they're, Denis Villeneuve, I could put a lot of his movies on this list, like Arrival is another one. The sound mixing and the way that sound is used in his films is really intense. And that's why I love the Dune movies and the Atmos tracks so much, because there's this bombastic, action, there's this incredible score, everything is mixed really well, and it puts together this almost this orchestral, just beautiful mix of sound on disc that truly Atmos will give you the best experience for. And it's definitely, whether it's Dune or Dune 2 or in the future, future Dune movies that come out, Dune is one that you have to have. If you've gone Atmos and you've gone 4K, Dune might be the first disc you want to go buy. Next up, I've got Deepwater Horizon, and this is the one that I mentioned that has deeper bass than even 13 Hours. Now, Deepwater Horizon, it's a disaster movie based on a true event. I actually think some of the same people from 13 Hours might have been involved in this. Was it the same guy? I forget if it was the same director. I'll look it up later. You guys let me know in the comments. I think somebody was connected there. But Deepwater Horizon, again, when shit hits the fan, your Atmos track is going to be just an incredible experience. So a lot of these movies, Twister is pretty start to finish, Blackhawk Down, a lot of them though have individual scenes that are great, or the second half of the movie. And Deepwater Horizon is that. The second half of the movie, when disaster hits and that rig starts to go up, it's just amazing. And the bass is going to shake your house. Like, I don't care if you got a little baby subwoofer, you got 10 subwoofers, you got 2, like however many you got, get that thing calibrated, get that thing tuned in, watch Deepwater Horizon. And if you live in an apartment, your neighbors are going to be calling the cops. If you live in a neighborhood, your neighbors still might be calling the cops. You're going to put some cracks in your foundation with this thing. It is seriously, seriously deep. And of course, the Atmos, effects on top of it, and the way that they can build this 3D, sound stage for you. Awesome on Deepwater Horizon. But yeah, it's one of those Atmos reference scenes, that second half, end half of the movie where things really get going. That will blow you away. Next up, I got Top Gun Maverick, and this might be an obvious choice, but like, obvious choices make sense because they're so good. Like, it is really good. And Top Gun Maverick, especially compared to the first Top Gun, has way more scenes shot in the air with the planes, and the way they shot this movie is insane. I mean, these people were really in these planes and going at, warp speed here through canyons and stuff with professional pilots. But everything about Top Gun Maverick, those big IMAX scenes when they're flying their training missions, when they fly the eventual real mission towards the end of the film, all the action that's happening above and below, and all that, again, object-based surround that you can hear, something whizzing by on the left, something whizzing by on the top right, something below you, something above you, right overhead. This is what Atmos was designed for, as a movie like Top Gun Maverick. And I'll tell you, those scenes, I've seen that a few times on 4K because it's just such a fun movie too. But those scenes will really give your system a workout. It's not going to be like the most earth-shattering, groundbreaking bass ever, but it's more about the sound effects, and it's more about the Atmos object-based stuff that really will get you going with Top Gun Maverick. And then finally, I went back and forth. There's a lot I could have put on this list, and I got to give an honorable mention to like Bohemian Rhapsody, the Live Aid scene with Freddie Mercury at the end of that film. Awesome in Atmos. There's a new Queen Rock Montreal in Live Aid 4K disc, which has incredible Atmos. There's, Saving Private Ryan is one that could have been on here. There are a ton of great Atmos discs. I was just trying to pick 10 to narrow down a list. So lots of honorable mentions, but this one, I felt like I had to put it on because when I watched it, it really sucked me into the movie, and that was 1917. Now, 1917 is slow at times. It has its moments, but there are 2 or 3 scenes in that film that will make it worth every bit of money that you invested in your Atmos system. One being when we've got our main character, I think his name is George in the movie, or maybe that's his real life name, George McKay. His character, the actor, when he's running across no man's land, that no man's land scene in that film with the bombs going off and the guys running out and screaming out of the bunkers and out of the trenches, and just the absolute insanity of that 10 minutes or however long it is. It might even be shorter. It feels longer. Insane. Every bomb is going to shake your room. The stuff going off behind him, overhead, gunshots whizzing left, right, guys screaming from the trenches, just the whole thing. Those big action sequences, that's what Atmos is made for. 1917 gives you that in that moment. There's another scene where George's character is, again, running through, like, it's at night. He's running through, kind of sneaking through, like, a destroyed town. There's fires everywhere. That one's more nuanced, but it's more like A Quiet Place, where now we're sneaking through, right? And you're hearing, okay, there's soldiers behind us. There's soldiers to the left, to the right. Somebody's moving behind him. He's got to sneak over here. Like, that really sucks you in too. It becomes very immersive because you do hear all those little bits of sound that you're not going to get even with a 5.1 or a soundbar, TV speakers, whatever it may be. Like, when you get to Atmos and they can really expand that sound stage, that's when you start to hear, like A Quiet Place, the leaves crunching, the little fire burning behind him, people whispering or talking a few buildings over while he's sneaking around. That's a great moment, which isn't going to like blow somebody away who's like, let me see how loud your system can go. Like, that won't do that. Get Deepwater Horizon, Edge of Tomorrow for that, Blackhawk Down. But it is just beautifully composed, that scene. And Atmos, it's as close as you'll get to that movie theater experience where that really shined. So there's my list of 10 great Atmos discs. If you're starting out, if you've had Atmos for a while, wherever you may be in your journey, these are 10 that I think just everybody should have. And the great thing is, on this list, I don't see a single bad movie. They're all enjoyable. They're all solid movies, some better than others, but they're all well worth spending money on. And a lot of them at this point, Blackhawk Down, Quiet Place, 13 Hours, a lot of them have been cheap, you know, $8 to $10 on sale throughout the years. And I will put links to all of them and their Amazon listings in the video description. So if you buy from there, that helps support my channel, and I do appreciate that. But a lot of these can be had for good prices. Even Gun Maverick, Dune, a lot of them can be had for pretty good prices now. They've been out for a while, but they're solid discs that, you know, remain reference quality and probably will be for as long as this format exists. So hope you guys enjoyed this. I had made this video, I think like 5 or 6 years ago. It was obviously time for an update. Some of those still carried over here just because I said of how great those Atmos tracks are, but I wanted to update it with some new stuff, some more context, some added information, and just get a fresh video out for you that was also shot a little bit better, because I know my old videos are painful. Like, I can't watch them. Some of them are shot so bad, the audio is bad, whatever. I was figuring it out. It's hopefully better now, but those are the 10. Obviously, like I said, honorable mentions: Bohemian Rhapsody, Saving Private Ryan, just off the top of my head. Even stuff like Coraline and some more of those nuanced type movies that you don't expect, like with all the explosions and everything, are really good with Atmos. So I encourage you to, you know, watch and read reviews on these things, but this is a solid 10 to get you started. So thanks for your support. Thanks for coming out to the channel. Thank you for watching. If you want to follow the channel, of course, make sure you subscribe here for all the latest. You can follow me on Instagram, and all my social media links are right here in the QR code. So click that, scan that, whatever you want to do. Links will be in the video description as well. And of course, all those purchase links if you want to pick these up. That helps support me, so I appreciate it. But thank you for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Keep enjoying your new or your upgraded Atmos system. Hope you guys stay safe out there, stay healthy, and I'll talk to you all soon.